Hey, and welcome to Chicago Beer Pass. I'm Brad Chmielewski.
Hey, Brad, I'm Nik White.
And we got some special guests in the studio here with us.
We got the Illinois Craft Brewers Guild, man. Chett Brett, Justin Maynard. What the hell's going on,
What's going on, boys? How are you?
Having some beers.
Welcome, guys. Good to have you here.
Yeah, man, with Chicago Craft Beer Week on the horizon, we want to have these guys in here, man. Haven't seen them in a while.
Yeah.
Now we got Chett. We know you're a board member. Justin, we know you're the executive director.
Yes, sir.
Right? We got that right?
Yep.
Right on.
We got the titles down.
Yeah. Yep.
There we go.
Respect the titles. No, don't.
So with Chicago Craft Beer Week coming up, that's one reason we want to have you guys on. But we also want to talk about all these rewards that got won this past weekend at the World Beer Cup in Philly.
Yeah, man. Illinois Brewers, 10 awards, if I'm not mistaken.
10 total.
Yeah, including golds for Haymarket.
Yep.
For their stout, right? That's
Defender.
Two-time winner, right?
Two-time winner. Maybe Pete was drunk, but it may have won 3 times, but 2 times gold.
2 times
I'm
gold.
not sure.
Man.
Rock Bottom took home a gold for a white IPA.
There you go.
Yeah, Rock Bottom, Chicago. Let's see. Blot Out the Sun from Floyd's over in Indiana also took home a gold. Yeah, so there's 3 right there.
Fellow board member Will Turner and their friends.
And shout out to Will Turner, man.
Will Turner.
Winter Warmer, man, took home an award.
Yeah, he did.
I don't remember that beer.
Well, it's part of their beer that they bring into FOBAB later on in the year.
okay.
I think some of the other guys might be able to talk to that, but it was awesome. He was excited to talk about it today, so it's good for us.
Nice. Yeah, I'll have to make sure I look out for it next time at FOBAB.
Yeah.
Yeah, so week long in Philly, Chicago for CBC, Craft Brewers Conference. How was your Philly experience, man?
Man, I sat on the tarmac for a while. It was awesome. They were afraid to let us out there.
I've never been to Philly. Have you had been before?
This is my first time. So I've been in New York before.
Yeah.
And obviously Chett's from New York. So I had a good experience. It was like, I had a great Uber experiences. It was awesome. Like the Uber rides were great, and I still remember some of their names, which is weird. But they took care of us, and it's definitely it's almost like Chicago, where easy transportation. Yeah. There's a lot of breweries, there's a lot of tap rooms, brew pubs, small, and they're doing a good job out there. And there's a lot of food to eat.
Okay. Any of the breweries jump out at you? It's like, man, this place is fucking killer.
Second Story Brewing. Yeah. They did a great job. They actually did a collaboration with Revolution Brewing. My good friend Morgan Marshall, we all know Morgan.
Yeah.
He used to work for Revolution. He's the GM at the brewery, and he's kind of turned things around there. And it's a beautiful brewery. The aesthetics are awesome, and the vibe's awesome. And I was there the first night, the second night, and the fourth night, which is probably 2 nights too many. But we stayed late, and we had a good time, and it was just fun, man. It was very inviting, very open. I think they have about 12 to 14 beers on draft. They had a couple Rev guest beers on draft, so it was a good time, yeah.
Yeah, and then it starts the week with the opening ceremony at I don't know where that was, but
yeah, I don't do that.
And then there's the close.
It's usually at like a museum, which or like some.
When it was in Denver, we were at the stadium, the football stadium, but they wouldn't let you on the grass.
That would have been sweet.
Yeah, I thought in the distance I saw Garrett Lewis running like a horse when I was out there last time, but it wasn't him. Yeah, it was some other. Shout out to Garrett Lewis at Pipeworks.
Posing with his Broncos gear on.
Yep.
But then at the Craft Brewers Conference, they also open it up for it's like beer drop. Like any brewery that might be able to get their beer there, it's kind of welcome for that week.
I think a lot of the, if you're distributed in that area, it's kind of pretty. It's a pretty good deal for brewers to work with their distributors to get their beer at those local bars and local breweries. So there's a lot of tap takeovers. Of course, you're going to have your Oscar Blues, New Belgium, Dogfish Head. National brands that were doing things, but it was cool to see local Chicago breweries getting involved. So that's what gets me excited, Yeah.
How do it compare to other? I'm sure it's bigger every time you go, right?
Yeah. This year there was 7,000 people.
That's a lot of.
And that's downtown Philly, and Philly's very small. It's funny when you ride around in your Uber.
We need to get Uber to sponsor this fucking podcast.
Use the Chicago Beer Pass discount code.
You go to Philly, you experience Uber, you support them. It's so good. It was so good. But the funny thing is, the streets are very narrow, and it's gridded like Chicago, but it's just everything's narrow. So there is no, both way. There is no two-way street.
Okay.
It's pretty much straight, so you got to kind of maneuver around like Pac-Man. But in the end, it's worth it because the only places you're going to are restaurants that serve Philly cheesesteak sandwiches.
Okay.
Or a brewery. So that's pretty much what we did. And a lot of us had stomach pains throughout the week, and it was fun. It was worth it.
I wanted to go. Were you going to say, Chad?
I was going to say, did you guys see the much talked about Philly taco?
Is that the one where it's like a cheesesteak wrapped in like a pizza or something? That's a thing apparently.
So
I'm like, this is intense.
So recently, I've developed a new hero in Chicago, and Brendan Benberry from Hailstorm.
Yeah.
And this gentleman, he did a lot of damage on Philly steaks every night. He did a lot of damage in general, but if he could have wrapped sushi into a pizza roll, he would have done that. But he was killing it, and I was proud of him. I was watching him every night.
Proud of you, B.
I'm proud of you, bud. Yep. So he was one of many from Chicago that kind of embraced the whole food scene in Philly, and it's really good. Like they have great food. There's so one thing I didn't know was Monopoly. The Monopoly board is based off of Philadelphia.
Oh, really?
I didn't know.
No.
Yeah. So like board.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Go ahead.
You gotta.
I'd like to say it's more like Atlantic City.
Well, so you have like Boardwalk. That's true. Yeah.
Exactly.
But like Reading Railroad.
Yeah.
So I think they announced it. They call it Reading or something like that. But there was a market right across the street from the hotel we were staying at, which was like the Reading Market, and they had every type of food that you could ever want in that place, and you didn't have to leave anywhere. So.
And if you pass go, you have to give $200.
Yeah, you collect 200 Philly cheesesteaks. Yeah, it was crazy.
It's a food court dedicated to the board game.
I'm telling you, but this is a legit food court. This food court was not like McDonald's and Arby's. It was legit food.
There's something to be said about a real food court, though.
Yeah,
Seriously.
I mean, let's just give respect for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so let's bring it back. Man.
But wait, the rest of the lineup, we can't shut out people.
Yeah. Should we dive into this?
We had
let's focus.
Crystal Lake Brewing. We had them. We drank some of their beer recently, and I came across them. I didn't even know they were a brewery until like I don't know.
We
6
actually
months
thought it
ago,
was like
or
one of those
that-
breweries where like the big boys are acting like a craft brewery.
Oh, they're
Crystal
really
Lake, because we're looking at the label, we're like,
Because the
well, who are
label
these
was like
guys?
too nice.
Ryan's
Yeah.
a great guy. They have
Yeah.
a great team out there.
Yeah, Ryan Clooney's a good brewer. He's a
And they're-
very good brewer.
And their beer was really good. And,
Yeah,
and look,
I've
they won.
been
they
trying
won.
for the past year to like set up a scheduled visit to his brewery and all the breweries up in that area. So we have like Channel Lakes is in that area. We got a couple other ones up there.
That'd be a great road trip.
Yeah.
And hit everything up there.
Yeah.
All rise. And cheers to these guys who put on this thing, the BA, the Brewers Association, because these lists, they challenge you to like look in your own backyard and see what kind of breweries are there.
Yeah.
Because they're making killer stuff. Like the big names don't necessarily matter in this competition, and we all learn.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, who would have thought? All rise, man. They want a silver for their Kolsch.
Yeah.
And Tommy's a great brewer. Tommy's a guy that's been around the brewing community from Colorado to Chicago. People love him. He's got a great energy, and the people. And he's got the resources now. He's in a great situation. We're excited that we're going to have a
and you guys have a
party in his
relationship with
backyard.
them.
Yeah, we're going to have. Well, yes, we do at Church Street because we help them with their Riot Fest beer in previous years. So when they have their big party, but this year. He and Sean and the rest of the team over in Cobra Lounge and All Rise are going to help us celebrate a festival in
Summer
their backyard. So,
right on.
Yeah, July 30th, Illinois Craft Brewers Festival. Oh, cool. So it's going to be it's the first ever of its kind, all Illinois brewers.
No
Wow.
Yeah, and it's the same weekend as Lollapalooza.
Whoa.
Fuck me, right?
I know I'm a big fan of their Orange Wit over at All Rise. Like,
That's a good time too, because I think I'm too old for Lala. I need something to do that weekend.
Yeah. Wow, it's crazy these days.
Yeah, man. Two brothers.
Two brothers did a great job. Yep.
Yeah. We talked about Rock Bottom Rev Triptych down in Savoy, Illinois.
Yep.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I don't know much about them.
Yeah,
Me either. I don't even
Anthony's
know.
a good dude. Yeah, I've been down there. Every time we go down to Springfield, we always try to stop off at Triptych. And good dude. He's a smart dude. I think he's an engineering background, and they just took over majority of their space in their building, and now they have a canning line. So they're doing a great job down there. Yep.
Yeah, Excel.
Excel bottling and brewing. Yep.
Yeah, they took a bronze for a wheat ale. They're down in Breese, Illinois. I know one of those guys who used to brew it like Stone.
Stone, yep.
That's all I know about him, though. But good stuff.
And Metro.
Yeah, and Metropolitan, man. Schwarzbier, Magnetron took home a silver.
That's a great beer. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome for them. Like they're doing just lagers here in Chicago, so it's always like I feel like they get kind of pushed away sometimes, like just because.
Lager beers are good beers.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Speaking of lagers, man. Last but not least, Argus, man.
Yeah.
Argus is fixing their beers, man. They took over Broads for the Holsteiner lager, which is basically like a Marzen, right? It's like an amber lager, I believe.
No.
Yeah.
We were talking about them before, and you said they got a new brewer.
Yeah. So they picked up.
They have a new QC person.
Yeah, Mary
Pelletieri?
Yeah, Mary Pelletieri.
Yeah.
So I think she's like a microbiologist. I think she brewed a goose a little bit. She was partly responsible for Sophie.
She did a presentation on one of our guild meetings about quality control. So she's very smart, very educated. So
they got a whole new staff.
It very does. Yeah, it's not surprising to me. So it's good.
So well represented at the World Beer Cup, where Illinois Brewers. That was very cool.
WBC. I saw a lot of countries there. I was scared. I was.
Yeah. So now you're back in town.
Back in town.
And we got a pretty big week coming up here.
Next week.
When is
Thursday?
Chicago Craft Beer Week kicks off.
7th annual Chicago Craft Beer Week, man.
Got that right.
Yeah.
7.
That was quick, man. Have you been a part of all 7?
I started year 3.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've grown a lot since then, right?
Yeah.
And I think back then we had about 25 Illinois breweries in the state, and now we're at about 160. And
That's
so it's funny because like when you think of Chicago, you think of the main staples and stuff, but you also have to consider the contract brewers and then the all prop brewers. So we have close to 80 breweries in the city alone, city proper, and then in the rest of the state we have about 80. So.
Yeah. And all prop, for people that don't know, I think that's the one where like you got multiple breweries all in one space.
Yeah,
right.
Even contractors.
Ale syndicate.
Ale syndicates known for alternate proprietorships. Yeah,
Blue Nose might be doing something like that.
It's all about. I think it's all about. So I'm not a brewery owner. I'm not a brewer. So everyone was always like, "What do you brew? Stop it!" So, but I know for a fact that contract brewers, they're regulated on a different scale with the government and with the state. But all props kind of have ownership of the brewery, so like they may own a tank somehow, or they have something along the lines of ownership. So, but they pay different taxes based on a different scale. So that's how that works. But but brick and mortar breweries, they're doing very well. I mean, craft beer in general is doing very well. So it's crazy. This is the greatest time to be alive, gentlemen.
I'll drink to that.
Yeah.
Cheers to that.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys.
So Chicago Craft Beer Week kicks off with the beer under glass, right?
And I'm going to pull up the Chicago
UG, baby.
Craft Beer Week app while we're
app.
here. Download that app right now.
Yeah.
Google Play, iTunes, the whole nine.
Yeah. It's no surprise. This is the 6th year of Beer Under Glass. We partner up with the Garfield Park Conservatory to run this event. This year we have 103 breweries participating. Last year we had about 95, so we've increased it by 7.
Was last year the mud one?
2 years ago was the mud.
Yeah.
That wasn't really mud. It was perfect. It was just
It was fun.
No, it was great.
2 years ago was
Minus a little mud.
Yeah, 2 years people weren't happy, but last year it rained. I mean, I wish we could control the weather.
Right.
So the funny thing is, as these events go on year by year, people, craft beer enthusiasts do expect more coverage, and so this year we purchased footsies, like foot covers, and we purchased ponchos.
Okay.
So you have no excuse to not come to Beer Under Glass. And that's free. I'm not going to charge anybody for that. So that's free of charge.
You're a gentleman and a scholar.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, buddy. And that was out of my personal budget. I took that out of my own salary. No, I didn't.
For the game.
For the game, yeah. No, but it's oh, go ahead, Chad.
No, I was just going to say, to give people a little bit of an idea of how great Beer Under Glass and the whole craft beer experience is. A cousin of mine has had some challenges in his life, but he came to Chicago and he's in recovery. He's not happy. He thought Beer Under Glass was as fun a night. He's like, I'm going to run an organizational thing next Beer Under Glass, where it's like, hey, you know what? It's a celebration of people in the community of Chicago in a place I mean, I don't know if people got an opportunity to go to Garfield Park Conservatory, but that is an awesome place. If you can't go on Beer in a Glass, go on a Tuesday, go on a Sunday, bring your kids.
No, that's what's
go there.
That's what's
That's
great.
the thing.
about it.
Celebrate. We recommend to our ticket buyers to get a yearly membership to the conservatory. It's a beautiful place. It's
almost a hidden gem. It's just kind of hanging right off the green line, just
now,
west of downtown.
right off of 290.
Not too far from the Goose Island Barrel Warehouse too. So if they start doing some tours or things like that down the line,
That might happen. Yeah. That'd be great.
It's a dope space. It's on the National Register for Historic Landmarks, or at least the Chicago Register for Landmarks. It's a landmark.
Yeah.
That's a great space. Like, did we turn it into this huge beer garden once a year?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
and it's right off the train, right?
Yeah, right off the Green Line has a stop on for Garfield Park. Yeah.
I'll be taking the subway there.
Okay, nice. Yeah, that's always a great event, kind of a good way to kick things off. I'm glad it hasn't changed.
Yeah.
Like
It's stayed the same over years. So.
Yeah, I think that's one of Chicago's signature events. Like the bigger events, like there's Oak Park, right? And then there's the stuff in Plainfield. But one of Chicago's signature events, next to FOBAB, is probably this one.
Yeah.
is there anything different from this year from previous years
Yes,
besides
sir.
just bigger? Like what's happening?
Yeah, I mean, every year, I feel like, we have to reinvent ourselves. I think it's like a personal thing for me, and I think it's more of like an image thing for craft beer because there's so many craft breweries out there, and, it's kind of like putting a niche, or kind of like, kind of separating us from what other beer festivals do. We're doing a rare craft beer tent, and
Really?
and it's kind of an opportunity for our beer sponsors to get creative. There's not a lot of breweries out there that actually have the means to come up with different beers outside of what they do on their regular basis. So, thank God, big ups to our sponsors. Is big ups still a good thing to say? I don't even know.
Yeah.
I mean,
We
it's
say
just-
whatever we want, man. Big ups.
big ups. By the grace of God, we have 3 great beer sponsors. We have.
He's got the speeches down, man. He's gonna run for office when this craft beer thing gets played out.
I'm telling you, next week, bud. Yeah. So we have Goose Island Beer Company. We have Lagunitas Brewing Company, and we also have Revolution Brewing Company.
And I get an amen for that.
Amen.
Amen.
Yeah. They provide the drink that provides us satisfaction. Stand up. But it's one of those things where they have awesome opportunities to create different beers and different styles on the side. They do a lot of. You could do like a Rattler. They do a lot of fermentation just in like kegs alone on the side. They have a lot of barrel aging, mixing opportunities that they do. So the sour programs for each brewery are ridiculous. So. It's amazing stuff. And this is our opportunity to kind of shine Beer in a Glass. We're going to have a rare beer tent. Wells Park, we're going to have a rare beer tent.
Which is the closing ceremony. So it runs for about, a week and a half or so?
10 days.
11 days.
11 days.
11 official,
Opens with Beer in a Glass, closes with the Wells Park Craft Beer Fest.
Yes. I like Will Turner from Revolution hasn't made it public, but he's promised us he's going to post it publicly, that there's going to be a golfing, whatever.
Frisbee golf.
Frisbee golf. That's his thing, right?
That our friends at Penrose are going to help sponsor out in Geneva on Sunday after Wells Park. So for all of us who are going to rocket through the whole craft beer week, that Sunday we're going to be going out to Geneva. There's going to be a train that's going from the Metro Ogilvy out to
Drop you off like a mile from Penrose.
Yeah, exactly.
Not even
and
that.
So I'm going to show up at the Glen Ellen station with some beers over my shoulders to give them to the people who are riding out. And then I think they've got a deal worked out with one of the buses to take people around and play the Frisbee golf and celebrate the end of it. But obviously, real focus is Beer in a Glass and Wells Park. But
So it's really 11 days plus.
Then Monday, the week before, the Monday before, let's have a craft beer event. Like, no, it's craft beer month.
Yeah.
This is, God help us all, man. This is stuff alcoholics are made of, right? Yeah. Big up to the alcoholics. Yeah, man. And shout out to Metro, man, because you can drink on that train.
Oh.
You can't really, technically, you can't drink on CTA trains.
I would say big ups, not a shout out.
Big ups to Metro, man.
Thank you,
all right,
guys.
cool. So Wells Park.
Yeah, second annual Wells Park. Yeah.
Now, you guys, it was rotating. The closing ceremony rotated for a while. It was in West Loop at one point, and it sounds like you guys are finding your rhythm here at Wells Park.
Yeah, Wells Park is a very good opportunity because there's a lot of craft breweries that are opening up in that area.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bars that are opening up in that area, restaurants. So they honestly get the whole entertainment nightlife ordeal for 25 to 40-year-olds. So that's kind of like the demographic that we're working with, and Wells Park is just. It's a pleasure to work with the Park District, and we partner with them as a nonprofit to donate money. Proceeds to this event go to the Wells Park Advisory Board. So we're actually indirectly, helping them out with uniforms for T-ball leagues and keeping track of all the programs that they run, taking care of the fields, the grounds. So everything that we do is directly related to what benefits them. So it's it's good to see that benefit directly. So and we appreciate that.
Yeah, that gets overlooked, man. That the charitable component, the community component, is a huge part of. I mean, you're using beer to do it.
Yeah,
but that's at the center of what you guys are about, man.
It's easy. Yeah, it's easy to take care of a community. And Alderman Pawar is in that district, 47th Ward. Such a good man. He's a gentleman, and he's been very decent to us for the last couple of years. We also have state legislators in that area that appreciate what we do, and we talk with them all the time. So everyone appreciates what we're doing, and then we have no problem taking care of the community. So that's what it's all about, and that's what our idea was years ago, was to kind of move this closing event around to different communities, different neighborhoods, and try to develop that area. Obviously, Lincoln Square and Ravenswood is blowing up because of Beguile and Spiteful and Half Acre and Band of Bohemia and Empirical. I mean, you've never seen a lineup of breweries like that anywhere.
It's one of the deepest stretches of breweries. We're talking about West Loop now all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But I think West Loop and Lincoln Square are probably the two most concentrated areas for breweries
those
right
are the
now.
top two, man. I mean, it's, the thing about Randolph and Halstead, there's so many restaurants. There was 10 years ago nothing existed there, and now that's blown up so much, and so is Lincoln Square. So, those areas, Pilsen should be popping off soon. If not already. They have a lot of restaurants and they're doing well. So
2-6 and so on.
Yeah. So Chicago is a food town and a beer town now. So it's pretty exciting to watch.
Yeah. I was having dinner with one of the guys at a local tourist event, and he was saying we used to have to travel the world to experience what we're experiencing in the country, to travel to see what we're seeing, but
now I have to leave my neighborhood.
Exactly.
It really is becoming ground zero for food and drink. Yeah. It's a very cool thing to see in the last 10 years in Chicago, for sure.
So I know one of my favorite events during Chicago Craft Beer Week is Beer Fly Alley Fight.
Nice.
Over at Haymarket. You get beer, you get art, you get food, and you get beer from up and coming people too. Yep. So that's the home brewers.
Underground brewers. Right?
So that's happening, I believe, on the Saturday.
The Saturday
21st.
After opening ceremony.
That's a good day.
A lot of cool stuff happening. You should definitely download that app to see everything. Looks like there's an Evanston brewery tour. Evanston apparently has 3 breweries all of a sudden. So there's a bus taking folks around there. We talked about Spiteful. They're doing a beer and dice tournament called Cheeseburger and a Pair of Dice.
Right. I think they've done this one before, right?
Yeah, it's their 3rd annual.
That's awesome.
Goose Island Sunday Fun Day, which is a dodgeball tournament. Yeah, and everything in between, man.
There's those boat cruises. Those are fun.
Yeah, man. There's a boat cruise series.
We'll take it by land or by sea. Whatever we can do to get beer.
3 hours.
I think that's one of the last times I saw you.
I know. I saw you getting off the boat. Or the boat, yeah.
You were on a boat one night. You and Furbs or something.
Yeah.
That was
fun.
Yeah. You look up, it's 1, 2 in the morning. There's just 3 of us, and we've got the mitten, the barrel aged
Remember that?
mitten. We just got bombers over all across this
We were walking off the boat, and we're just grab what you can grab. And then we sat in a chair and just drank it on the lakefront. Yeah.
Full moon out. It was really cool.
Yeah. Well, we drank responsibly, so.
Yes.
Safety first, man.
Yeah. We all had life jackets on,
Life jackets, barrels, and.
So it's going to be a good week, man.
It's going to be fun. It's one of those things where, people actually look forward to this and they plan it. Every year I get more and more emails from people outside of, and it goes for FOBAB and all of our events. People want to travel to Chicago to experience this event. So I'm very proud of it. And when I was in Philadelphia, I was at Crime and Punishment. There was a local sitting at the bar, and he saw my hoodie, and he's just like, "Oh, Illinois Craft Brewers Guild." He's like, "Oh, Illinois Chicago Craft Beer Week." I'm like, "Yeah, it's coming up." He's like, yeah, finish your beer and leave. And I'm like, what the hell does that mean? He's like, oh, Philadelphia created the Beer Week concept.
Yeah.
What's the guy's name?
Oh, seriously. I was like, I was already like at 10 at this level, so I'm like, good for you, But Philadelphia.
I did hear that they were like one of the pioneers.
Yeah, and that's good, and and they deserve all the respect in the world. But don't tell me to close my tab. But.
You know how much beer we drink in Chicago?
I'm spending a lot of money in your town. Yeah,
Yeah, because Philly's weird. They got like that whole. We talked about it. It's like they trademarked the country's best beer city.
Yeah,
it's trademarked by Philly.
Yeah,
like, is that really the case? Like, are they drinking? Have they been to Chicago? Like,
yeah,
we get after it pretty good.
We do. I think we get easily offended too. So.
Yeah. What the fuck do you mean?
Yeah.
Represent.
Yeah.
Being at the Craft Brewers Conference and people knowing you're the head of the guild and everything, like, do they come to you now? And, like, how did you, like, what's happened? Like, how do I make my city as thriving? And what do I need to do?
I was telling my board members today, it's very flattering because, doing this job for the last 4 years, and, when I first started this job, like, Chett wasn't on the board of directors, but I had a whole different lineup, and, I was kind of thrown in the deep end. I always tell people this story, but, make it short. It was just like run with it, do it. And it's great because my background with Riot Fest and running my own business, I developed a skill set where I could kind of apply it to what I was doing at that time, but it took time to build up. And when it did, it's just kind of like a roller coaster. So you get off that hump and then you're rolling, And we actually had a couple states that asked if I could kind of help them out and go to their state to build up their board of directors and
almost serve as like an advisor or consultant.
And that's cool, and that's flattering, and that's awesome. And the cool thing is, 2 out of the 3 states I definitely want to go.
We'll keep that under wraps.
Yeah, but the cool thing was, I was A, I was flattered, and B, it's more of a testament to like the brewers that we have in the state and in the city. We're doing such a great job, and when I first got this job with Pete Crowley, he kind of set the groundwork for everything, and it makes me every day I think about how that was laid down, and a lot of these states never developed that. So, when I go to these meetings with the Brewers Association, and it's not a knock on any state or anybody in general, but they ask questions about how to raise funds and how do you create relationships, and some of that stuff is born within you, and other things you have to work hard to develop that. So it's flattering, and that's why I love like my new board members. I love change, and I love education. And we have committees, and we work with our brewers, and we have seminars. It's fun to see everything develop. From a nano brewer to a 250,000 barrel brewery.
Yeah,
everything changes. It's all about scale, but it's all about education and learning and doing a good job. So.
Yeah, Chett, you were going to say, you're going to jump in there?
No, it's just an important part of getting the dialogue out of what we all represent as breweries in the community. It's like, we have separate dynamics that we represent as Church Street, and then our friends from Will and James from Flask, and everybody's got their own. But we're all out there telling our story for Illinois craft beer. And you know what? We've got the guild that's supporting us. The guild is keeping an eye to say, hey, you know what? We see how it's done in other states. Let's tweak that a little bit. We talk to, as our guild, we talk about each state and what the challenges are. Hey, what can we do to support these other guilds to say, hey, you know what? This is going to be good for all of us at the state level and a federal level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's important, man.
Honestly, it is important. Yeah. It's funny because that was one of the BA's initiatives the last couple of years to get a guild developed in every state. And it's done now. So there's 50 states that have guilds. It's funny. It's like, to the common beer drinker, they think, a guild is what Justin does. But on a bigger level, it's more of legislation and defending your rights in that state.
Because there's a lot of weird rules in some states.
Well, every state's different. That's the thing. So
and antiquated state laws that don't really benefit small businesses at all.
And sometimes it's as simple as the state of Florida, who had 128 ounce growlers and 34 ounce growlers. But they didn't 32 ounce growlers, and they didn't have 64 ounce growlers. And it's one of those things that all of us other states looked at and said, well, why wouldn't it? But between the relationships with the producers and distributors, they had an issue. Well, they got through that. Now they got through it, and you can get a 64 ounce growl, 68 ounce growl, or 64 whatever of Cigar City at their brewery to take home, as opposed to going in a 128 gallon or 128 ounce, or I need a 32 ounce. We're getting that beer and we're going to say, hey, but each state has got their own, in some ways, well established because their challenges their states have had developing liquor laws, to say, hey, what's common sense? What are we looking at as a nation?
Yeah.
What's the best way to get this beer to our consumers that they're going to enjoy it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and since we last saw you, the barrel capacity for Illinois has gotten a lot higher since
our brewer's license have changed since last August, I believe.
Yeah.
So there's a 30,000 cap that went to 120. Self-distribution sticks with the Class 1 brewer's license. You lose that with the Class 2 brewer's license, but you can also own 2 retail licenses. So it's all about compromise, and we definitely respect the 3-tier system, and but we still worry about the brewers first and foremost. I mean, you got to remember, like, these guys, think of any brewery, think from Revolution to Lake Effect, to Church Street. It's like everyone's on the same page.
Yeah.
This is a small business. So I don't want anyone, and I take everything to heart, and I don't want anyone telling me how to run my business. And so that's why I love my job. I love defending our brewers, and it's very important.
You guys are doing a killer job, and I don't think that dialogue doesn't happen if you guys don't go down there, and then ultimately those changes don't happen where barrelage it gets increased if the guild doesn't step up and say, hey, this is what we need done for our businesses. Cheers, man.
It's the squeaky wheel. You know what I mean? That's what it gets down to. You have to be part of the dialogue that people are going to say at the state level and the federal level, and say, hey, these are an important Main Street business that's going to help economic development in a community. Who doesn't want that?
Yeah.
Right.
Nobody's going to raise their hand on they don't want it. But what's the best way to bring that across at the local level, the state level, and to the federal level? And if the best practices is done by a brewery, by a guild in Arizona or Oregon or South Carolina, we have to learn from each other and say, hey, let's make it better for all of us. And
no one's perfect. Yeah, there's nobody that's perfect. It's hard. It's just like, every time I go to these guild leadership meetings, it's different across the board, and everyone's got different issues with different distributors. Like, I might be fine with my distributors, but some other state might not. And, you also have to internalize that and then come up with an educated response, instead of flipping your lid and throwing a chair at somebody. That's never good. Which I like to do every
Come here,
so
you
often.
motherfucker. Yeah. Change the law, you motherfucker. Get over here.
Yeah, but it's think about it. You own a business, you want all your rights protected,
Right.
And you want growth. You want to employ people. You're paying your taxes to the state of Illinois or whatever state you live in. So you want the best economic situation for your business, right? And that's what we defend, and that's cool, and that's awesome.
So after Chicago Craft Beer Week here, like, what's the prediction for Illinois beer? Like, what do you think the brewery number might be at by the end of this year?
3,000 brewers. Who knows? I don't know. I mean, they're opening up at a rapid pace. Honestly, I would make a dumb prediction and say by January 1st next year, at the rate that I see emails coming in to the guild and what I see going through the Liquor Control website, Liquor Control Commission website, I would say, maybe 220 by next year. Who knows? But who knows? Everyone keeps talking about this fictitious bubble that's going to burst, and
right.
Everyone talks about SKU numbers and retail shops, and wholesalers can't have all these brands, and some brands are going to beat out other brands. I just believe in the brewers that push their brands. I believe in small business, and I think it's going to work itself out. I think people still are thirsty for new beers. They're still thirsty for creativity. I believe that they appreciate having multiple options. I remember when I first started this job, Pete Crowley told me that he wishes that there was a brew pub in every corner, and I'm fucking holding it against him. I want to see that. Not everybody has to manufacture beer and put it in a can or a bottle and sell it.
Exactly.
I think that's the thing where we haven't seen that. Like, I don't need to go to the store and buy a 6-pack. I can go across the street and buy the growler.
I want variety.
Yeah.
I want everybody to make their beer. I want to fall in love every time I go to a brew pub. If I taste something great, I want to sit there and enjoy it until I get sick of it.
Yeah.
And then I want to go somewhere else. I want to enjoy everything. I want to, if they have a kitchen, I want to try their fried mushrooms.
Because I love fried mushrooms.
Because I love fried mushrooms.
We're in a city that can support these types of breweries you're talking about.
It's Chicago, Illinois.
You know what I mean? Like it's it's a city of neighborhoods.
Yeah.
It's some of the most diverse collection of neighborhoods,
Yeah.
and there's an infrastructure there to support different types of breweries.
Honest to God.
Breweries next to Chinese shops, bottle shops turning into breweries.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like Chinatown. I used to have a condo in Bronzeville. There's so many open shops, and I think the city can do a way better job in supporting a lot of these small businesses to open up these businesses, like in general, but breweries specific. So there's opportunities to do that, and
you don't see anybody complain about the number of steakhouses.
Hey, exactly,
Right?
exactly. But that's the thing. Yeah, is there a cap on steakhouses? I don't know.
Coffee shops.
Can you only produce a certain amount of steaks? I don't know.
And our marching orders for the Brewers Association is to get to 20% by 2020. Well, in the Pacific Northwest and some parts of California, they're 40-50% of the beer that's consumed is craft beer. Well, for our community, we're a couple of years into this explosive growth, and so some of our partners, they're almost a decade or two in their growth. But the reality is, it's out there. People are consuming craft beer legendary numbers up in the Pacific Northwest. We just need to be patient, work with our distributor partners, work with our consumers to say, hey, listen, you don't have to settle for this. Work with us.
Yeah.
Ask your little, I can tell anecdotal stories. I'm on the fortunate side. I'm on the front lines of the beer industry. I'm shaking hands and kissing babies all the time. But I'm taking places that years ago that weren't necessarily super crafty, getting on board with some craft. Well, all of a sudden we're like, oh yeah, you know what?
No, Mike.
Oh, sorry. Hey, let's enjoy what we've got going on right here, because you know what? That's what we worked hard to do. That's what we're trying to work hard every day to do. Get the word about what we're doing, and then maybe we'll get to 20% by 2020. Yeah. But in the meantime, we're trying every day to slug it out and tell the story about why our beer matters. And
you're starting to see the change. I know Brad was hanging out at Soldier Field for
How was that?
for a beer event. Or even
for the Chicago Beer Classic. It was a
Chicago Beer Classic.
It was a fun event hanging out there. I think it was a little pricey, but I think the venue you're paying for a little bit there.
That's what it's all about. Insurance and the venue. Yeah, that's expensive.
So that's I think the downside for a lot of people. I think you did see a lot of new beer drinkers there.
Okay.
I did not see really any familiar faces. So, but that's great for the growth.
I think you have to remember too, when you go to these for-profit festivals, and I'll say this all day and night, it's a different experience from what you do with what we do, because we focus on the brewers and the guild members. So we literally, truly respect it's not a respect thing. We do support the local craft. When you do these other events, it's more about these other brands, right? So kind of like wholesaler brands and brands that have money to maybe spend more on marketing than other brands. So it's tough, man. It's hard to when you think about marketing, especially from the guild perspective of what we do. That's why I appreciate all of our sponsors, because without them, I couldn't do shit. Craft Beer Week would not exist, right? Mm-hmm. So when I started 4 years ago, we had sponsors, but at the levels they were coming in, it just didn't make sense because we weren't doing anything, right? So now we're at a level that we can function and we can get billboards and do ads, radio ads, and we could do marketing through periodicals.
Right at Belmont and Pulaski, I saw at Belford Tavern. There's this huge billboard.
Oh, buddy.
And there's one's for getting your kids' teeth fixed. That was one. And
get your kids' teeth fixed. Yeah.
And then it flips, and it's like Craft Beer Week.
Wow. Okay.
Oh man, I tried to take a picture, but
Yeah, bud. I'm proud of that shit.
That's very cool.
Thank you.
Very cool. So CCBW this year, you're putting a twist on it. There's this passport.
Oh man, I love it.
And then let's talk a little bit about the passport and what's going on there.
So, it's something that there's a lot of stuff that is out there that you just take it to another level. When I started this job years ago, I remember Pete Crowley, who was the board president back then, Haymarket Pub and Brewery, gold winner, defender, awesome stout.
Damn good stuff.
Sorry, I just segued on that one. Sorry. Very good beer. But I just remember that we were doing this bottle cap series, and people were collecting bottle caps, and there was really no rhyme or reason. It was a company from New York, and it was outsourced. And
That's right, yeah.
Especially if it's, we pride ourselves in local and sustainable. And, some dude from New York is telling this committee when I first started what to do, and I was like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, this is all wrong.
So, I hate the whole thing. Scrap it for next year. I knew it was going to fail, and it sucked, and it was bad. People were pissed, and but it was one of those things where through that process, I met a couple people that own breweries today, which is weird. So I brought this up at our Q2 meeting. Grant Hamilton, he's a part owner of Imperial Oak Brewing in Willow Springs. So he collected 36 bottle caps, right? What does that get you? Who knows? So he showed up to Haymarket and he was like, here's my bottle caps. And and Pete was like, I don't know what to give you, but I'll be right back. So he went down in his basement and he just started grabbing shit and just brought it upstairs. He's like, take this shirt, take this neon sign, And so that makes me laugh. That's just funny. But it's funny because it's like how much we've grown to now. Today, we're a little bit more organized. So we created this thing called Chicago Craft Brew Week Passport. And I don't know if you've ever seen one.
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
I had one. I forgot it.
God damn it!
I just dropped the ball.
That's Chet's fault right there. That's fine. But it looks like a legit passport.
You get it stamped and the whole nine?
So we have 10 available spots to get stamped, and you have to go to 10 different venues of participating venues.
Okay.
So most of the venues are brew pubs or tap rooms, but it's all guild based. So the retail shops that are involved, they're members of our guild. So we have Bottles and Cans in Lincoln Square. We have Brixies in Brookfield.
What about Target? Can I go to Target and get the stamp?
No.
All right. Just checking.
Can I buy the stamp at Target?
Yeah.
Just checking.
Yeah.
But you might be able to pick up some righteously good beer from Church Street.
Oh, there's a plug. I was waiting for that. Yeah. No, but Church Street's involved. So it's one of those things. We made 6,000 of them. We're gonna kind of see how that falls out this year. If there's an awesome return, I want to give shit away, right?
Yeah.
So if you go to 10 different places, you get them signed off, stamped. You either drop them off at the guild office, which is 3340 North Kedzie Avenue, or you can mail it in. Everything's in the passport. The rules are in the passport. You're gonna get a free Chicago Craft Brewery T-shirt. You're gonna get a nice pint glass. You're going to get a bottle opener, and you're going to get a koozie.
Okay.
And you're going to get a nice letter from the executive director of the Illinois Craft Brewers Guild saying thank you for supporting craft beer during Craft Beer Week, and we'll see you next year. It's one of those things, it's just, craft beer enthusiasts want to be tied in, right? So something that I've noticed over the years, they love going to events that are like, beer and food pairings. As long as the brewer's there, they want to talk to the brewer, they want to be involved. And we have nothing but respect for that. Because it's, what we do in general is all about the community. Not only is it running a business and selling beer, but it's tying in the community in general. So I think, our theme for the past couple of years has been a celebration of neighborhoods. And now we're more like drink craft beer in general, because we want craft sales to kind of supersede the norm. And we want people to support the movement, so.
Yeah, I like the passport thing. I know, the supporting neighborhoods. There was the year where people collected map pieces. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, okay.
And you could build your map of your neighborhood if you went to the right
cool.
amount of spaces. So that was.
Are you trying to give me more work for next year?
Yeah, so I like
What the hell,
the maps. But yeah, no, I like the expansion, the growth of it's not just your neighborhood. It's the whole city.
Well,
it's the whole state even.
And that's the thing. This year, I mean, I think the last couple years, and Chet can attest to this. It's more like. I've gotten not hate emails or hate responses, but I've gotten a lot of feedback about not including suburban communities.
Yeah.
And there is, I have nothing but respect for the suburbs. Because you say Chicago, if you meet somebody on the streets in Philadelphia, and if they tell you they're from Chicago, and you say, "Oh, where?" and they say Naperville. Yeah. It's still Chicago, right?
You're but okay.
Yeah.
You're like, I had to say, you can't cut it both ways.
We're
from Chicagoland.
Yeah. But
we're proud we use Michigan water. We're
we all got the same TV stations.
Yeah. So that's the thing. And it's just like a lot of people, there's some part of the community that say, they're very, distinctive in terms of where they live or their community. But then from my perspective, of course we support the suburbs. And of course, we want them to have the passport, and we want them to visit Nevins in Plainfield, and we want them to visit Haymarket, in the West Loop. And
because, like you said, the number of breweries practically doubles when you include the burbs. The city's one number, and then you include the burbs. And
but why keep them out? Because Illinois and Chicago specifically, and the surrounding suburbs, we commute back and forth. We have the means to move around in this town.
Yeah.
It's not like we're horse and carriage. Or we just walk everywhere. We have the L system, we have the Metra. Some people have hoverboards that blow up on them and start on fire. But you can hoverboard to Plainfield.
Yeah.
That might take you a couple hours.
Big up to the burbs.
Big up to the burbs. If it wasn't for God, none of this would exist.
I love the burbs. We would do the show every week, and we love Chicago. We also love leaving Chicago.
Yeah, of course.
So a road trip.
We may rag on the distance to things.
So I'm going to throw down the gauntlet to you fellas. Yeah. They would like to welcome you guys out to Church Street Brewery.
I've been there. It's nice. Yeah, I like it.
Come out and do a little show out there.
All right.
Are you kidding
We'll
me?
talk about the subtleties of decoction mashing. I'll let Justin get on a little bit further.
Sure. I don't know what that means, but
Yeah.
So, but
I've never claimed to be a brewer. So people are always just like, what beer do you brew? I'm like, let's not even... Don't even knock on that door.
World-class drinker, right?
Yeah.
I've talked to friends that are like, I'm thinking homebrew, and I was like, do you? And I was like, no, I have friends that brew way better beer than I will ever brew, so I will just drink their beer.
I've attempted and I've lost.
Yeah.
So I'll leave it up to everybody else. Yeah.
So Chicago Craft Beer Week, man. Download the app. Beer in the Glass opens the week, the big week.
19th.
The 19th. And then the closing ceremony is Wells Park.
Yep, on the 20th.
On the 28th. And then there's tons of stuff in between.
Website?
Yeah, what is it? What is the website, Justin?
ShyBeerWeek.com.
All right. It's the best place to, besides the app.
Yeah.
If you don't have a smartphone for some reason, go to the website.
And build your schedule.
Yep.
We'll try to see everybody at every event. And
And don't get caught up in trying to chase after it. Go to a local brewery. Go support the local breweries. Oh, you know what? My niece is getting her confirmation on that Saturday. I can't make that event. Show up on Thursday afternoon.
Right, yeah.
And get a growler and bring it to that point.
It's 11 days. You can go to events.
You can make some time. Yeah.
And now everybody gets
you can't wash your hair every night for 11 days.
Whoa,
Might fall out.
And bring your passport, all right? Bring your passport and get that stamp.
Stamp your passport. I want to give away free shit. Please. We have shirts, glasses. It's awesome. Yeah.
Should we say a little rest in peace to Brad's rocking the Break Room Brewery hat. So they bit the dust this week.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the details were behind it, but apparently Finch is moving in and
Finch's kitchen is the thing that's surfacing now.
I think from what I've heard, they're gonna open up the brew pub and maybe reinvent themselves in Chicago, and that's good. That's good for the city and it's good for the community. And
I think you saw Four Paws bit the dust completely.
Yeah.
And then I think Aquanaut maybe.
Aquanaut took over. Yeah. I think Four Paws, that was intentional.
Oh, so, they were done. They were just they had enough.
They built up a brewery, and I think I'm not going to get into speculation. Yeah. But I think it wasn't because of failure. It was more like Matt's a good dude, and I talked to him not in detail about this stuff, but I think it was just planned. So to call them the first quote unquote failed brewery, that's not true. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to clear that up.
Yeah.
So man. So Break Room is done.
Break Room folded. Yep.
Finch will be moving in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're excited.
Pretty good.
Hopefully they're. I'm more worried about their kitchen, but I want some good food.
And it's a nice space.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
Yeah.
And from what I've heard, they're going to extend it to the back where the wood shop was. They're going to move the brew house in the back.
Okay.
I'm not sure what they're going to do behind the bar, but I'm excited. We'll see what happens.
Nice. Well, Nick, where can people find you during this Craft Beer Week? We'll do another episode before this, but
right on, man. I'm on Twitter at Nicosio.
And I'm on Twitter at BRAD. Chicago Beer Pass is on Twitter at Chicago Beer Pass. Our Facebook page, /Chicago Beer Pass. We're always sharing events. We'll be posting lots of stuff over the next, 15 days until the end here.
About 50 years.
Yeah. So be sure to follow us there.
Cool.
And then chicagobeerpass.com. All the episodes are up there.
That's
Links
awesome.
to iTunes, Stitcher, the YouTube version of this as well. So you can see us knocking back cans here.
What about the video dance party that we're going to put together?
That's up there as well.
Yeah. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for coming on.
Maynard, Chett Brett. A pleasure as always,
You guys are good gentlemen. We did this last year, this year, and I expect next year.
I hope so. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Cheers.
You guys are awesome.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks for hanging out.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. See you at Beer Under Glass. Hell yeah.